So have you gotten texts from unknown numbers? Like, why haven't you come to the party yet? Hey, hello, why didn't come to work today? What happened? I'm feeling lonely. Let's talk. Hey, I'm outside. Normally they're pretty dumb, but a few weeks ago, my friend got a message that was kind of unsettling. Hey, Nico, it's Ryan, your roomie from Sedona. How's it going? Except this couldn't be Ryan because he goes by his middle name and knows how to type like a normal person. So kind of terrifying, but it also got me curious. So I Googled Nico's full name and it popped up with Ryan's at that address with both their phone numbers in one of those public record scraping sites. That text was really convincing. I would have totally fallen for it. But that got me thinking, what if attackers leveraged all the insane data breaches that include your number and use AI to personalize the message? Spear phishing is a targeted attack that normally takes a lot of time and effort. Let's say you decide to target promising mayoral candidate Mrs. Rochelle Southwest. You can search her online and find her Insta with pictures of her cute cat, Cinnamon. You also see she has traveled to the Capitol to give a speech this week. You send her a text like, hey Rochelle, Cinnamon's sitter asked me to drop by and I saw she wasn't eating. Your vet wants a video call right now. Typically, public figures or people with a lot of money are the ones targeted to make the time and effort spent worthwhile. But what if getting that information wasn't high effort? What if everyone's personal information, photos, social connections, website accounts, medical history, voting preferences, financial information was just out there for anyone with enough gumption and a name? But that's nothing new. Data breaches have been around forever. What's changing is how they're able to leverage this data. John Oliver did a piece about pig butchering, a very personalized spear phishing where scammers spend months just chatting with the victim, building trust before scamming them. In his piece, human traffickers were forcing their victims to act as the scammers, with phones and manuals on how to lead the conversations. But what would be cheaper and more effective than humans at spending endless hours in conversations? Large language models are trained in part using human reinforcement. Workers talk with the model about diverse, niche, complex tasks, and when the model gives a good answer, it's rewarded. This means it's more likely to do something similar in the same context in the future. With every chat, these workers are contributing to a database of training data to make the model even more effective. Similarly, every person who responds to those random texts is building out a database on how to scam people. That's why those weird texts are getting better and better. I never would have responded to those old-fashioned templates, but when I see, hey, I'm outside, I'm like, oh shit, I guess someone's outside. It works on me because it worked on other people, and the model learned that. So how can this get worse? The other big strength of AI models is their ability to cluster types of people based on all the leaked information, as well as everything you do online. The clusters can give signals on how someone might be vulnerable. For example, maybe one cluster of people had a painful breakup and are stressed about money. Another cluster just had a baby and are sleep deprived. Some other cluster are teens who want to be famous on TikTok. These clusters, or embeddings, can be used as extra information for the conversation model to improve its guess on what persona, conversation style, or situation to use to compromise the target. Then comes the information lookup. Photos, names, addresses, social security numbers, and all that, but for the family members, friends, past roommates. It's super easy with the trove of information from data breaches, and the AI models seamlessly slip them into the conversation appropriately. Now you have a perfectly personalized attack. For everyone. But let's extrapolate outside of cybersecurity just for a second. What if an entity had these same tools, but a different goal? To make people buy something, to make people angry or afraid, to make people receptive to an idea. And this entity, corporation, military, nation state, has the money and a large enough AI model to train on all the data of everyone on the internet to predict anyone's innate response to anything. And with subtle nudges, comments, images, but at a massive scale, insidiously shifts who we are and how we view the world over time. That would sure be unfortunate, huh? So what can you do about scams? Well, unfortunately, if someone capable wants to put in the effort to target you individually, there's not much you can do. There's just too much information online, too many data breaches, too many tools, like the GeoGuessr guy. The good news for most people is that capable human attackers have finite time. As do we all. Okay, but what about the AI scams? I mean, just try to maintain skepticism. But also, don't assume you're too smart for scams and manipulation. No one is. And as these become more and more sophisticated, deep faking people you know, etc., we're all going to fall for something eventually. Some of us might have already. So what would you do today if you knew you would be compromised tomorrow? I'm not a fancy cybersecurity specialist, but I'll add some basic recommendations in the comments. Also, I think we should all advocate to get our governments to provide more comprehensive support to victims to get their lives back. Dealing with the IRS and banks and credit unions, etc., can feel like being punched in the gut all over again. There's an era of victim blaming at some level that limits the support and attention given to folks who are victims. Nobody deserves this. My last video was about how bots are commenting lists of names to reverse engineer YouTubers' block lists. There were a lot of good thoughts in the comments, and I'd like to discuss a few. Some comments were about how the bots may just be trying to mature the accounts to make them less suspicious for future spam. I think a better way to mature an account would be to post a selection of more generic stuff, like, great video, I rewatched 18 seconds several times. Or if you want to be fancy, pull the top comments and repost them, maybe changing them slightly. Or, if you want to be super fancy, grab the title of the video and do an API call to an LLM to get a great comment. Honestly, I did this as a joke, but I swear I got these exact comments on my video, and it's kind of upsetting me. Dead Internet Theory and Oracle Attacks are really interesting reads I definitely recommend.